Hello, Futties. Welcome to Foot in Review, powered by FUTcoaching.com, bringing you leading analysis and opinion of all things Ultimate Team since 2019. We bring you 2 shows a week available on all your favorite podcast platforms. And of course, we now have a fully produced video show available on YouTube and Spotify as well. Now, if you can spare us a little bit of extra support, why not head over to patreon.com/footinreview, get a range of benefits, including joining our loyalty program. You also get Discord access and much, much more. Big thank you to today's show sponsors, CarMoney. We'll have a little bit more on them later in the show. But also a big thank you to our Skybox holders, Amar, Artyom, and Peter.
Hello, Futties, and welcome back to Foot in Review, episode 565. This Friday is not all about deals yet, but it's all about pros. The Pro Live promotion is here, and not only does it bring content, it also brings the perfect opportunity to discuss all things from the FC24 Pro scene, which I personally was extremely critical about at the release of the game. But to make sure we'll get several views of the content and the pro scenes, we've got a literally full house today. We also have a new recurring show topic called Start, Sub or Sell, but more about that later as well. My name is John, and I'll be your host for the day, and I'll be way less talkative since else my dear co-host and dear guest will not get much time to speak for themselves. It is my pleasure to say hi again to the myth, the legend, Hariola, the Norwegian King. I don't even have all the Indiana Jones. It is Mr. FC Database. It's none other than the man, the worst hoodie, the best. It's Ingve.
Hello.
Hello, yeah. Ingve. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Wearing the podcaster Halloween outfit again.
It's kind of stuck with me now. I'm waiting for the exclusive Foot in Review one. So this will do for now.
I will get you that because we do have, and this is another plug, but we do have the beanies on.
Nice.
So we do have Foot in Review beanies now.
Awesome.
The good news is you are going to Crete. We can now officially say that. 99% sure. Which means you have to wear a hoodie when it's even 35 degrees there as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Some kind of hat I should be able to. Maybe not the hoodie here.
No, it's going to be a beanie, I'm sure.
Yeah, beanie. Sure.
Next up, it is the man that does wear the Foot in Review merchandise like no other. And if you look in the background, you can see 2 teddy bears wearing also Foot in Review merchandise. It's none other than Chris, Krem, Papa, Macintosh.
Hi, mate. How are you?
Chris. I'm quite all right. Looking forward to doing this show. I actually have been looking forward to doing a show on this topic. And EA gave us content to go along with it. So
good
stuff.
Happy
to go
I'm looking forward to it, mate. And if MDC's in the background, there's the merchandise. Let's get rocking. Black Friday's coming. Are we going to do any deals, John, for Black Friday?
Yes, but I got so ill-prepared that I don't know what the actual promotion is will be put up. But if you go to footreview.com, you can definitely check out. There are deals there, for sure. This is weird, though, because we have a Black Friday week now, apparently. So this morning I woke up into all kinds of deals. So I was like, hey, that's next week, isn't it? But it's actually this week. So on the Foot in Review side, we are a little bit behind the curve. But I'll make sure when this episode airs, the deals are live. Then the next is our special guest, which I did sort of get on board very last minute, maybe too last minute. And I'm glad he was able to come on still. It's none other than a recurring guest. We already had him on the show once. It is none other than, I'm going to say it in English, Michael Vanderheyden. Hi, Michael.
Hey.
It sounds a little bit weird in English, though, when we talk.
Yeah, but a lot of people cannot say Michael, so Michael is perfect.
Definitely. We'll plug you later on. Can you, for everyone that doesn't know you, or anyone that doesn't know you, introduce yourself shortly for us?
Yeah, I'm the Belgium Esports coordinator, so I'm responsible for everything gaming related at the Belgian Football Association. That includes the pro scene, but also amateurs and everything around that.
And if you come to wonder why we met, that's nothing to do with amateurs.
No, that's what the pro.
Just putting it out there. Now, we've been working together last year as well in the very fun, entertaining co-op national teams, which unfortunately this year is not a thing anymore, isn't it?
No, this year it will change.
Right. All about those changes, though, because I was very critical at the FC24 Pro scene. I've been trying to get that on board or like get the point across for listeners. But I've also found it's a little bit hard when the other people on the show aren't that investigated or that invested in the pro scene itself. So hopefully you can help us out tonight a little bit with that.
Yeah, for sure. I have some things to say about it. So
Definitely. Just to make sure we have some disclaimers up, you did not injure your arm or hand while playing FC24, did you?
no, just playing normal football.
Yes.
For the ones I want to see it, yeah.
I just want to put that there before we can. I can already see the YouTube section coming up later on. Shall we start though with content? Because Ingve FC Pro Live, there's a new promo. Last week we had, if you watched, you can get some new cards from the promo for the pro scene, which was cool, which I collected on Twitch, but never actually got my reward. That aside, what do we get? It's new, it's fresh. Are you excited?
Well, I don't know how excited I am at the moment because it's kind of fresh still. It looks interesting. It's new. It's a promo team where each player will be connected to a pro playing in a tournament this weekend. And if they win, these cards can get some upgrades. So it's kind of like a road to the final type, but through the esports scene, which is kind of interesting. You probably have to get a little bit up to date with who's playing and who's representing who, at least if you're going to trade with these cards, which I don't think I would, because I think the prices might go up and down. If you take a nap for 5 minutes, you're going to lose coins. So, but they can get some nice upgrades. If they get 3 points, they will get 1 inform upgrade. If they get 6 points, the pro, they get a new play style. If they get 10 points, they get another inform upgrade. If they qualify to the next round, they get an inform upgrade plus another play style. And if they win the whole thing, the player they represent, they will get another inform upgrade. So that's quite a lot of upgrades. So an 88 rated card could end up 92 rated, which is nice.
And 2 playstyles added to it.
It would be cool if they could get skill moves and weak foot as well, but well, it's a start at least, I think.
That's for next year's probably.
Next tournament, I guess.
Chris, you're heavily invested in the pro scene. I know you've been watching Twitch every single week, been supporting all these players, wearing their shirts in your cohort. What's your take on this? How excited are you?
I'm confused. I'll be honest with you, John. I'm confused. I did get my rewards last week, but I'll be honest with you, I put my phone on and played Champs when it's on in the background. I mean, to be fair, the production looked great last week. It did look like they've ramped it up a little bit. I have been very critical in the past, as we talked to things like Counter-Strike as well. When you watch those events, and I'm sure Mikel will be able to fill us in and why potentially the EA seem to be lagging so far behind when you've got the world's game at your fingertips. That doesn't seem to be that way. It'll be interesting. I mean, as Ingve says, everybody out there will need to start doing their homework, who we think we're going to win. Maybe it might be too late for the guys here, but maybe we could say the people who think might do quite well in the promo if they're happy to do that. It's an interesting promo. It's one we've always asked for. It's no cut and paste, really. So I think we have to give it a mild thumbs up from us. Let's just see how the promo works out in terms of prices as well.
Michael, let's jump to you.
Yeah, I like the promo just because it finally are some names that are not always a promo card. Like you always have the same 10 players that get a promo card every promo there is. This time it's a little bit different. I like things like Lozano, that's with PSV. And Manu Bachori is playing for PSV and he's representing that player. And I think the promo is just something that EA is doing to get the viewership up on the tournaments. If you saw last year, they had like around 5 to 6K for the big tournaments. And now with the Twitch drops last week, they had 60, 70K, even more at some points watching the game. And I just think this promo is just getting more people involved in the pro scene. I don't think the pro scene is better than last year, but I think they're doing a better job in getting people to watch it, even if it's just opening it somewhere on the phone. Because eventually those numbers are important for sponsorships for the future, maybe.
Can you indulge us a little bit in how that works? Because you are very much involved on that side of it, activating sponsors, checking the numbers, getting people on board, getting sponsors on board. Last year, you said the esports scene itself is perhaps better, but the activation this year is better. What's the main difference in your feeling? What did they do well this year, and what did they go wrong?
But this year, just even the Twitch drops with decent packs are just getting everyone to watch it. It's the same with these cards. The traders will watch the tournament just because they want to make profit and see which pros are playing well or are playing bad, because you always have the surprises. So I think there's money to be made, as said before. So I think people will be a bit more invested in the tournament. Even with just the drops, more people were watching and more people are getting to know the players. While last year there was nothing. You could get some tokens, I think, if for some tournaments, and then over a whole year you had like 6 tokens and you forgot to do 2 and you couldn't get the vest back eventually. So that incentive was just wrong. I think it was too long. While now you get a mega pack for just watching 60 minutes or something, and that's just what is driving people to it. And if the numbers are higher, sponsors will eventually be able to put more money down, because it's just all about reach and media value. And I think that will be important for the next steps of EA as well.
Definitely. Chris, I see you nodding
No,
there.
I know we were going to talk about it, but maybe it's a good time to talk about it. I'm just looking because, I'm a bit of a Philistine when it comes to online sports. And I'm looking at one, Counter-Strike, and there's a tournament that was in Stockholm in 2021, and the peak viewers was 2.7 million. And I just wonder, from Mikkel's point of view, what is it that maybe Counter-Strike's doing? And maybe he doesn't want to say, and I accept if he doesn't want to tell us that. What would he say is the difference between Counter-Strike and the way EA are marketing the game? Because it is the world's game. It is the world's game. Football is played all over the world. It's the biggest game in the world, irrespective of what MD else tells you. So I just wonder what EA could do differently. Is this a step in the right direction, or is there more they could be doing?
I think with Counter-Strike, the big difference is you can watch real-life football as well. So a lot of people that like to watch football maybe like more to watch Barca Real in real life than maybe watch it on EA Sports. I think that's a big difference. And I think, Counter-Strike, I think that's one of the esports that also easy to understand for a lot of people. It's just, you have to plant the bomb on one of the 2 sides, and a lot of people can easily understand it, while League of Legends, for example, is way harder. But for FIFA, I just feel like the last couple of years, there was not that incentive to watch it, to get to know the players. It's a lot of times confusing about how tournament structures are working. And I think there's just people more likely watch their home team in the weekend play real life football than watch it on EA Sports. And also, for me as Belgium, if I try to sell or esports matches to colleagues, everyone is asking question, why do they play with Hewlett and with R9 and all those players while we're the Belgium national team? We were playing with 0 Belgiums last year. This year that's going to change, and I think it's a good direction for us. But there's not a lot for people to connect with in EA Sports. While I think in Counter-Strike, you have more the teams and people being fan of a team and just following players. And I think that's just still missing in EA Sports. Now we're getting to see some bigger names, and they have their following. But it's just, I still think it needs to develop. But they're just so behind on what Counter-Strike and League of Legends were doing 10 years ago already. We're now starting to see it in EA Sports, but they just waited way too long, I think, to make the changes.
Yeah, talking about changes, Ingve, you've been with me at Foot Review as long as we do this. How involved were you in the pro scene, and do you know what actually changed between last year and this year, if you talk about the pro scene itself?
I watched some last year, but I haven't followed anything this year because they kind of changed the whole thing. So it seemed too complicated for me to kind of put time into getting to know what it actually is and how it worked. So I kind of just skipped following it. So, which is a shame, really, when it's too complicated. And it's like, I would just, it was fine the way it was, at least for me as a watcher. But now I just read about so many players kind of lost their job, so I kind of felt like this is, I don't know, it's not the same anymore for me. Then it's like lots of unknown players as well. So it seemed like many of the ones I like to watch, because they play the type of football I like to watch when it's online gaming, they quit. So kind of lost the interest that way.
I think that's a good point, though. The structure changed a lot, and that's where I've been critical, but maybe Michael can help me explain it a little bit. If we talk about the structure, last year, most people could just sign to an organization or didn't get into an organization, but just play well, get into spots, try those open qualifiers and get in tournaments that way. Basically, you could be able to start your pro career just from your home, if that makes sense. This year, that's becoming a lot more difficult, didn't it, Michael?
Yeah, it's becoming more difficult, but I also think the window in getting to the pro level is way smaller. Like last year, you just had to be in elite division, certain points, and you had like 5 or 6 moments in the year that you could qualify for an FGS. This year, everything is crammed up before December even. So if you're not in FC Open right now, or your ladder last week didn't go well, your year is almost over. If you're not playing the competitions, like the nation competition, I don't see you play very much. And then, of course, some names are going to disappear because there's no way to show you the rest of the year. And if you missed it in the beginning, well, some people need an adaptation time. Like I have some players, they always are very bad in October and November. And then in January, they're smacking everyone. They don't have any possibility anymore to make a World Cup or anything like that. And that's just a shame that they limited their window so much.
Yeah, so basically what they did, if I can really try to summarize it and bring it down a little bit, is last year, everyone that played in the elite division and get to a certain amount of point was able to qualify for the FIFA Global Series qualifiers. So you could qualify through the game into the qualifiers. And in the qualifiers, you could perform really well, and you were able to make a tournament, basically, even into the World Championship. Yeah, if you did really well. But at least you had an option. But you were playing most of the year. And next to that, you had national competitions like the Dutch Eredivisie. We had a little Premier League tournament. Belgium does it as well in the Belgium competition, where you also get a point and were able to get those points into your qualification. I don't think I missed something there, right, Michael?
No, correct.
This year, you play FC24. If you get to elite, you can get into or Division 4. It was at the start of the season.
Division 4, yeah.
You get into the FC Open or FC Pro division ladder system, which is also in game, which was pretty cool addition, if I'm honest. But am I correct that only 4 players in total are able, if they're not able to get into a club competition, to qualify in the end on the World Cup? 4.
Yeah, I'm correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So if
the rest are all spots for competitions.
Yeah. So if you're not playing in the Eredivisie, Premier League, etc., as a player, there's just 4 players that can get into the actual World Championship at the end of the year. Which last year, it wouldn't matter where you played or for who you played. Sure, if you did Eredivisie and stuff, you get a little bit more points. You had a bigger chance, but the road was open for you. And this year, it's a lot more restricted. One thing I've been asking for in the previous years was tell stories. We need to know the players. Like Michael knows a lot of players. I know a lot of players. And if you get to know these players, they can tell cool stories and you start rooting for them, and they didn't do that. The disadvantage of this year's system is that it made it very compact, very close, and really narrow to be able to participate. The one thing they are doing now really well, I have to admit that, and I want to know your guys' opinion in a second, is by doing promos like this, they are damn well telling stories now about these players. Chris, does this more entice you? Do you get the difference between last year and this year?
I don't understand why they changed it. It doesn't seem to make any sense whatsoever why change it, because this promo, I take it, is just for this weekend, Ingve, is that right?
It looks like that.
Yeah, so, this promo can run for several tournament weeks, couldn't it, really? Because you could just have several players. I mean, surely this isn't going to be just a one-off Because everyone will watch this weekend's tournament and then the tournaments in the future. What's the incentive for people to watch? Are these players going to carry forward like the road to the final cards, or will there be new cards coming out? That'll be the interesting one for there. Also, I think as well as, and Michael can probably tell us, is the 2v2 or the 3v3 seems like a more exciting game to watch than the 1v1. I just wonder if EA have missed a trick by not making it a 3v3.
Yeah, we played last year all year 2v2. That was for E-Nations the way to go. It's just, I think they're a little bit afraid to keep pushing that mode, just because then every team needs 2 players. This year, they put all the power at the clubs, what actually resulted in every club is going to pay the players less. Because the clubs are saying, you want to play in a nation competition because you want that possibility to go to the World Cup, but we're going to pay you like 700 euros less this year. Are you going to take the spot or not? Otherwise, we take one of the 700 other people that want your spot. So, for example, Kaarse Genk, they used it in their tactic to negotiate with Gilles Benard and Stefano Pina. They said, we have 1 spot and we offer this much money. Who of you 2 is going to take it? And the other one can leave. One said, okay, I'll take it. The other one now has no club. And last year they were 2 because there was a 2v2 competition. There was possibilities for E-Nations that they were willing to practice. There was E-Club. So there was an incentive for the club to have 2 players. But now they only need 1 for the competition, and they're just saying, but we don't want to spend this much money anymore. We have the power, take it or leave it. And that's a bit the situation for this year.
Which is very disappointing, not only because of the money perspective, but there used to be organizations, I mean, FUTcoaching, we had pro players working for us as well, which we've put at clubs to help clubs, but also to make sure that player can make content all year, push the brands and go all year. It's really risky now having players signed to an organization directly, because like Michael says, the clubs definitely know the word now, what the power they have. So and if they don't make the first league and you don't have them in a national competition, they can just play for 1 or 2 months. And that might be it for the year, while as an organization, you're still paying a salary for the whole year as well. And that's not even talking about teams or organizations that had players signed to them for a couple of years. Let's say you sign the world champion last year, you sign him for 3 years. This year, you can't put that world championship into a club that plays a national competition. There's just 4 players actually able to make the world championship at the end of the year. What are you going to do? You're going to put them at a club and pay that difference yourself because you're still paying for the player? Or are you going to say, no, let's collapse? Most people will put those players into the clubs and make less money on it, or don't even at all invest their own money on it. And that's why some organizations just like, okay, now we're done, because basically there's just power at the clubs, and that's where we go. And coming back on Chris' question, 2 versus 2 last year was awesome, Michael, where your teamwork, team chats, really cool to manage. And I think the one thing we celebrated this, Chris, we said it as well, playing co-op is amazing in this game, actually.
Yeah, I think
I would love to go to World Championship in Ingve, though, but hey.
I mean, I would like to see it 11v11, I'll be honest with you. I think that would be the ideal one. The pro clubs themselves, 11 players playing would make an interesting game. It would be an interesting experiment for EA to put in here. When you hear those, Michael and yourself, and you hear those discussions that you guys are having, it sounds like the pro scene, it's first of all very difficult to get into. And if you are a good player, are you going to keep practicing the game for a game you're going to really struggle to become a pro at? Are we going to lose out in talent in the future?
I think it's really a struggle. I have people in our academy. We have a youth working at RFBA. They're like, maybe I'll stop playing EA Sports because I'm going to college. Maybe my studies are more important. Like, we had one guy, he made semi-final of the Belgian competition last year. He almost went to the final, but he choked it. And after he said, I'm going to stop because my time is more worth to do extra studying and get a master degree. And that money eventually will be better in my life than maybe do 1 or 2 more years of EA Sports at a club because he had a contract and spend my time in the game. because he said, it's more worth to go and study, because he was not sure that he would make the big tournaments. He would just play the national competition, and he said, I just stop. And that's really what's happening in some point. So some young prospects will stop because it's so hard to get into, and that's because we're missing. Like, that's what Counter-Strike does well. They have all the little leagues as well. Like, you can sign up for Faceit, you can play on Faceit, you can get the highest rank. People will start noticing you if you're level 10 on Faceit, and then clubs are going to contact you. You can play in the minor clubs. But in EA Sports, you don't have that. If you're elite, everyone says, yeah, but 3% of all the people on EA Sports are elite. You're not able to show yourself off. 20-0 in for champions. Like, I'm disappointed if one of my players is not getting it at this point. Then I say, oh, wow, you get 20-0. No, I think in my academy, 9 out of 10 people are getting it. So there's no way in showing how good you are unless you're getting to the tournaments. But that's just so difficult.
No more pro career for you, Ingve.
Well, you never know. Maybe if there was a veteran league or something for the ones over 30 plus or something, 40 plus.
No, but I think I'm coming back on the question why I think, and I'm going to let Michael answer as well, but I think they wanted to go back to basic and start rebranding the FC Pro scene, making sure to start telling those stories. But to be able to do that, you need first a player base which you sort of can rely on to show off, to make a good example. I think this is a perfect promotion to show off some of those players. The disappointed is we'll probably not get so many new players coming in the next couple of years. And I definitely see from what we've seen at FUTcoaching this year and the organizations or the clubs we did help, that the general level is actually going down. I'm not sure Michael sees the same, but I feel the general level is actually going backwards now a little bit because of the young talents that were actually really good, saying, oh, not sure this is a wise decision for me to spend time on it. Maybe I'll have to drop off. There's so little chance to go in. Less sponsors, clubs paying less money, so it's getting less attractive, which for us as an organization, they hire us less as well because there's less budget to do so. Because the same thing that Michael said, people saying, the clubs saying, hey, we can now pay you far less because else you don't have work. That's what we get offered as well. And we just say, well, we can't do it for that less. So we're not doing it, but it still hurts, right? Michael, what do you think? Levels going backwards or?
We're still working with the same players. Like, we didn't do a selection. Yeah, we didn't do a selection yet for this year. Normally, we always did it in November, but we postponed it now to January. And that's where I'll see the new level of the people in Belgium. But eventually, you run out of the talents as well. Like, we have 20 people in an academy and 10 pro players. That's 30 people on already a high level. Like, it's so hard to find 20 more on that level. It will always go a little bit down. But it stays for a long time always the same players. Like, if you ask me who is going to play for Belgium, I can only say 4 names at this moment. And those 4 were already in my squad last year. So new guys are not even knocking on the door for that spot. Not even close. And they're not getting to FC Open. We had one Belgian guy that was actually on the tournament. And that was not the ones that were performing very well last year.
Yeah. I'll talk about knocking on the door. The sponsor is also knocking on the door. So we'll be right back after this.
This show is sponsored by CarMoney, the car finance ninjas, fighting to make cars affordable and accessible for everyone, no matter your financial situation. Nikki, the car finance ninja here, compares the top car finance lenders in both the UK and Australia to get you the best possible price so you don't have to, and they can get you approved fast. All you need to do is choose your new car and drive away happy. Get in touch with one of their friendly ninjas and start your car finance journey today.
And we're back. That was a good break when you hear Chris clap like 10 seconds after the break ended. Well done, Chris. But hey, it's good to have you on board, mate. I still miss those claps when we were live doing in Scotland.
No, I'd be happy to own 20 in weekend league as opposed to 20. Just to qualify is a trek for me these days. So yeah, I'd be happy with 0-20 at the moment, the way it's going. I was just going to ask, and I'm sorry if I hijacked this conversation, is we've been very critical of the new game, Michael, on the show. A lot of us don't like the actual gameplay itself. I'm just wondering, from a pro point of view, what's the feeling at your level?
I don't have the pro level, but if I see some of the players, then a lot of them are not really enjoying it as well. It's so, yeah, in FIFA of an EA Sports now, it's just such a problem. It's everyone is playing a meta, and it's every year like the first month of a new game is the best because no one knows the meta and we can play every style we want. And then after 3 weeks, someone is discovering the 4-3-2-1 with 73 depth, and everyone is playing it. And everyone is having Mbappe because Mbappe is the best broken card in the game. So everyone is saying, if I don't have Mbappe, it's already over. Everyone is playing Ginola. It's always the same cards as well. It's so boring to watch. For me, for example, is we go to Pro Open, everyone is playing Mbappe, everyone is playing Ginola, everyone is compensating as a goalkeeper because they only have 8 million coins to spend. But it's just so boring to always the same. Yeah, but they spend 5 million to just 2 players, and then they have to... But all the prices are low, so that's still okay. But it's just so boring, and that's why we're struggling last year as well. It's like, how do you sell this product if everyone is playing with Hewlett, R9, Mbappe? Even as a Belgium national team, if we're doing the broadcast, all the people are saying, oh, but we're playing with Belgium, but where's Kevin De Bruyne? We didn't even select him because he's not good enough. And that's just a missed opportunity to tell a story. This year, the format is going to change, and we play with Belgium really in a 95 mode. And that's not better for the pro players, but it's better for the content.
No, I agree that. I mean, because, Ingve and I Ingve's Norwegian and I'm Scottish, and it's unlikely there'll be any of those Norwegian or Scottish players. Maybe Haaland, if you're really, really, lucky, the only player that'll make it through there. So it does seem a strange one. And I get that probably EA want to showcase these, they call them items, don't we call them cards, these cards for other players to see and want to get. But that idea of playing at 95 sounds a lot more exciting and will probably maybe drive viewers in, as you say. If I've got a Scottish guy playing in the tournament, I like him to use Scottish players.
Chris, we played on the Eredivisie's finals last year. Every single team had to use their own in-game team on 95 mode. And we went to Crete. We organized a tournament, which we also did on 95 mode with your supportive team. So you played Rangers, I played Feyenoord.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Ever,
it makes it a little bit special to you because you're using the cards that really matter to you. I won't mention Rangers with Michael being a PSV fan there since they beat us to knock us out of the Champions League. But congratulations to you, my friend. That was a sore one to take. No, I agree with you. It was great fun, and it makes for a more interesting game. And then you get players playing with different cards and different items, as they call them. As you say, if everybody's got Ginola and Hula and R9 or whatever they've got, it becomes a very samey game.
Ingve, you've been playing the meta, haven't you? 4-3-2-1 long balls.
What? No. I play my style.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I was looking at some of the gameplay, that's definitely not 4-3-2-1. A lot of crosses in your play, though.
Yep. I love a good cross. I love a good header. I love to be a little bit different as well. So I can't do the dribble down to the cutback goal type of thing. I've tried it a few times, but no goal for me. So it was really boring trying as well. So I just tried to play more like normal football, which I find a little bit more exciting. And I really enjoy scoring those goals after some nice build-up play and then the ball out to the winger and nice cross and a great header or volley. It's much more pleasing than doing the R1 dribble down the line and passing into a kind of open goal after the goalkeeper lost his hands and foot and things like that. So, which is kind of the meta, it seems, like dribble down or finesse shots from 50 meters, which I can't do either. So, I get on by just playing football and I'm doing okay. I was 8-2 in the qualifiers, which is decent for an old man like me, I think. I'm really happy with that. So, yeah.
The old man has a better beard than I do, though, but
yeah,
less grey hairs to me as well.
I was just going to ask,
Chris,
just to go back to the promo card. So, am I right in thinking, and I'm glad Ingve's on here, that come this weekend or Monday, that's the promo kind of ended? Is that right? Or is the tournament going for longer? Is this a continuation of last week's tournament, or is this a new tournament we're playing?
this seems like a new tournament, a new promo. There's a new promo coming next week, I think, from what I've heard. So there's no Team 2 or anything. So I think this is kind of like a Swift promo, kind of. So maybe EA is testing the waters, how it works and how people like it, and see if they can kind of bring it back when another tournament comes, and see what they can do.
I think this is one of the things which EA doesn't do properly. Michael can maybe help with that. But it's really hard to follow what tournament is going on, what's on stake, and how long it lasts, and what effect it actually has. Michael, can you agree on that? Or do you have any tips for anyone that does want to follow the pro scene?
I think this year is a little bit easier than last year, because last year we had so many different tournaments. Last year it was 1v1s, it was E-Club, it was E-Nations.
E-Champions League.
E-Champions League. So there were a lot of competitions, and then it's hard to follow because it's always other players, other rules. This year, it's sadly enough way less. It will be a lot of the same players all the time. So it will be easier to follow. And I think this promo is just trying to see if they can boost that viewership with this promo, because they're just looking, how can we also get to 2 million viewers in a weekend, kind of things, because they have been struggling the last couple of years. Since they've actually been struggling since COVID, since they stopped doing the tournaments. Then they did everything online, and they were actually one of the only organizations that kept doing for almost 2 years after COVID only online tournaments. But online, no one was interested in watching it. No one was actually interested in playing it, because for some of the players that I coached Stefano Pina, ex-world champion. He was so motivated all his tournaments to go to a special place. We went to Singapore, we went to Atlanta, we went to Romania, to London. Just qualifying for that tournament was such an experience and such a drive that just made you play better. But if you're playing at home in your same coach that you're playing every day from for 50,000 or 20,000 euros, it just doesn't have the same feeling. You don't feel like I'm the top 8 of the world from Europe. And I think that was also not translated in a broadcast, because a lot of the players could not stream because they had bad internet, they had bad webcams. So the whole production for like 3 years of these tournaments was garbage, and no one was involved. And you missed the stories. Like in the past, you had people like Kurt that got banned, but they were speaking and they were a personality. You're now missing that personalities. Maybe Verjang is getting some kind of reputation like that. Some people love him, some people hate him. But you need personalities like that, and you need that story to be built. And I think they're trying to do that right now, but they're just so behind on everything else.
Yeah, they could get better at that, though, because if I look at how these players... So Ingve, if I get this wrong, every pro player, not every player, from each group, they got one player. That player got one card connected to him. But I, for example, don't know how that got selected. And if I go to the website where you can actually find those links between those players, there's actually not much info about the actual pro player. I wish I could like click through and read more. Where is he from? What is he doing? How long has he been playing? What's his favorite player? Stuff. I don't know. What's your favorite drink? I don't care, but I want more information. But there is no more information yet. So I would say, for example, let's take one. Let's take one I don't know that well. Say Alejandro Hidalgo. You want to know more info about him? I have to Google him. Now, hopefully I can find something about it, which is the start's there, but it's not there yet. And I think that bringing it back more compact will help with starting it. But I do want to know what people think. If this actually, are we watching because we now get stories and we want to root for someone? Or are we actually watching because that one card we just so happen to pack? Because Ingve, these cards are really not easy to obtain either, I'm afraid, right? But are they watching because these players might get an upgrade? Also, Ingve, how much do I have to pay for all these players?
Yeah.
If I want to get one.
Some are extinct and some are not. Some are very cheap. But I have to mention one thing that I found out is that you can unlock Diego Jota by playing objectives, but the card isn't live for some reason. The SPC for Lozano, he's a live card, but the objective player, which is Jota, is not a live card, so he won't get any more upgrades, which I find extremely disappointing. It's not only because he's a Liverpool player, since I'm a Liverpool fan, but it's like you spend time doing an objective to get a promo player from a live card promo, and that is the only card which isn't live and can get upgrades. That makes absolutely no sense to bring in a card that's not live in a live promo. So
I just saw Chris and Ingve's face going from, hey, this is actually pretty cool to, oh no, here we go again.
It's a shocker, that's an absolute shocker. And just, not to talk over the top of Ingve there, but I'm with you. I'm looking at the Willian card. I'm sure Ingve could talk about that card, but it's sitting at 1.1 million, I think, Ingve, is that right? And Gabriel Young Freitas is the pro who's been attached to it. And I don't know if the lad's a good player or not, but you seem to be taking a mega gamble on that card. It's 88 rated at 1.1 million. It seems like an awful lot of coins for that.
Yeah. He doesn't, from what I've seen, Young Freitas has 2 times top 4 finishes in SNA tire event, which I don't know what kind of event that is. So there are other players that have more top 4 finishes, like the Matthias guy. He has 12 times top 4 finishes, so he is representing the Karamo card. I would say that he has a bigger chance to get an upgrade, at least from what I'm reading, though. But I maybe Michael can tell me more about the difference between these 2 pros. Which one is actually the good one? If the stats showing on the EA website is like kind of representing, saying that Matthias is a much player than Gabriel Freitas, I don't know.
Yeah, Matthias is way better, but the thing is, like, just basing on stats is difficult because they always play regional tournaments. And like we noticed it for example with E-Nations for us, like in Europe we have 20 teams in the top 30, but like on place 2 there was like Malaysia, and on 3 was Brazil, and on 4 was, for example, Australia. Why? Because they were winning all their regional tournaments, but if they come to the World Cup they got smacked 6-0 in a lot of games. So, and that's what's happening for me, I think, with the pros as well. It's way easier to qualify in certain areas of the world, while in Europe, the level is way, way higher. Like, we tried to qualify for E-Nations, like, we were battling with teams in the top 20, while, for example, Morocco, they're like, at that point, 41 of the world. They were facing number 70, number 80, number 86, and they got to the World Cup. While we were battling with number 7, number 11,
you
number
had to
16.
beat France to get to.
Yeah, we had to beat France to get there. And that's just because Europe is just, football is a lot more popular in Europe, and the level here is just a little bit better, I think.
That's also why we get all the servers, Michael. No, just putting that because I know
we have
it's
some
a
good
sensitive
service.
topic as well.
We have some good service. It depends on which one we can play.
From hearing this info, if I was sitting on the Willian card, I would try to not lose tax on that card, since he has 2 times top 4 from Brazil. Might not. You never know. He can have a good tournament, of course. He might be the star, but from what I'm hearing now, the odds of Willian getting lots of upgrade aren't the biggest.
You always have surprises. Like, you never know who's going to perform on the day. Like, I would say the Lozano card will get some upgrades because he is represented by the world champion, that card. And then you have Emre Yilmaz. He won each Champions League last year. So those are players, if they're linked to a card, you already know they performed last year, so probably they will do it again.
Emre has a decent group as well with him.
And
he'll
if you're a trader and listening to the show now, at the moment the Marlon card is 25k, so you might make a few thousand coins if Emre is having a normal day at his work.
Just give me a minute. You guys talk. I'll go buy some of those cards.
No, well,
But we cannot forget it's high level. Like it's not anymore like the last couple of years. The pro is playing like the number 1 is playing the number 300 of Europe. No, it's 16 pros and they're the best of the world. So it's not going to be a walk in the park for every game for Emery or Manu, for example.
True, but Manu isn't that afraid to see other players go, right? So
yeah, he's good. But
there's 2 players, but maybe it's my Dutch bias, by the way. Also, I think I'm too late, but broadcasting it live because he's being sold everywhere I'm going now, so it doesn't matter. We have a new topic on the show. So 45 minutes in, new topic, and Chris can tell you all about it because it's time for a new recurring topic: start, sub, or sell.
definitely. And I'd like to give a shout out to you and Cameron at the Big Football Podcast. They have this feature, so I've stole it a little bit, but I'm sure he won't mind. He's a big FIFA player. So Ewan, if you're listening and you want to come on the show, we'd love to have you. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick 3 players which you can either start. You must start one. You must have one as a super sub, and you must sell one. Now, the selling is because you want the coins, not because you don't like the card as well. So that is a bit of a complication there. So yeah, the card is tradable. So we're going to give you 3 cards tonight, and you can then choose which ones you want to start, which one you want to be your super sub, and which one you want to sell. Coins are important. So we're going to go with our 3 cards tonight. Gold Mbappe, 91 rated, 5 and 4. Low and high rate, and he is 2.6 million as of this afternoon's market. The second card is Ousmane Dembele, road to the knockout, 89 rated. He's 5.5, medium high, just under a million coins at 958k. And then the last one is King Eric Cantona, again 89 rated, 5-star, 4-star, medium high, but he is 1.3 million. So that are the rules, guys. You have to pick one to start in your team. You pick one as a super sub, comes on after the 60th minute, and then the one you're going to sell and take those coins. Who would like to?
Let's start with Ingve because I know he's got a very unpopular opinion right from the bat on. Ingve,
Yeah.
who's the one you will start?
That is Eric Cantona.
All right. Who's the one you're going to sub in?
That is Dembele, because he has such bad stamina, so he'll struggle to play the whole match anyways, and double 5-star is really nice.
And you're selling Mbappe.
Yep, I never get on with Mbappe. He is Mr. Post-it, hit the post, hit the bar, hit the post, hit the bar. If I get him in some kind of pack luck, I usually end up playing him wide because he rarely scores goals for me for some reason. I know it's me, but I don't use time finishing or anything like that. So I score more goals with other players. So I take the coins and buy me a better striker for my style, of course.
Also, best striker in the game, Trezeguet, right?
At the moment, yes, for me, for my style.
That's Mr. Hit the Post,
Perfect.
Trezeguet. Oh my goodness. He loves the par.
I will refrain from discussing this on air. Michael, who would be the player you would start from this team?
Mbappe 100%.
That's why I wanted to start with Ingve.
There's no discussion about it. Like, that card is just so broken in pro play as well. Like, no way around it. Like, with him, I think even for me, it will get me 3 more wins a weekend league.
And that's with one hand.
That's one hand, yeah.
But I've been talking to a few like my kind of level of players, and they have the same experience with Mbappe. They say that I've hit the post so many times with him. I can't score. He doesn't do much for me, and I wish my untradeable Mbappe was tradable because I would sell him. So it's really strange. I'm guessing that you, Michael, probably use maybe precision finishing and time finishing and stuff like that we don't use. So that's probably why you get more out of that card than us. Of course, you're a better player as well, though, but you probably know the mechanics a little bit more in depth than we kind of.
Ingve, you watch Formula 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the best car is the Red Bull.
Yeah.
But you could put Lance Stroll in a Red Bull and you still won't find it the best car.
That's true.
I think that's what happened with you and Mbappe.
Yeah, I admit it. I'm not ashamed
No,
of
but
that.
I think that the point is he's just way faster in most of the things, which is the difference between other players is so big that I think that's where the adjustment lies, honestly.
He's just good in the mechanics that are broken in the game. And if you use that and you know how to use it, that card is just unstoppable.
Yeah, I
But
can't.
you need to do that stuff, otherwise that card it's just a gold striker.
That's a far nicer way to say that, actually.
Yeah,
Should
kind of
should
understand.
have had my pay that.
Yeah.
Michael, you're starting Mbappe. Who's going to be your super sub, though?
Dembele just for the pace at the end of a game. It's just too good.
Yeah, fair.
As a super sub, I don't think Cantona would be a good super sub to bring in. I think you can do way more with the pace of Dembele. And Cantona is just worth a nice amount of coins as well to sell and invest in something else. I think Cantona is a good striker. Like in certain playstyles, you can definitely use him. I'm now saving up myself for Henry, for example. So there are a lot more usable cards this year. But just in this tree, you have to bring Dembele on to make the difference.
Definitely. We're putting this on the socials as well. So once this show goes live, or at least early next week, check out the socials. We'd love to get your opinion about who starts, who you sub, or who you sell. Chris, who would be your take then? Because I can say my take, but I'm looking at the same perspective from Michael, so I would just copy paste.
I would probably be starting King Eric. I'll be honest with you, because I would like those coins from Mbappe. 2.6 million. I think I can do more with the coins than I can with the one player. And then the Dembele again, I would probably be the super sub. King Eric probably suits my style of play. I'm sure the Mbappe card is tremendous. At the moment, it's far too expensive for me even to get anywhere close. So for me, unfortunately, Mr. Mbappe, we're going to sell you, let you go for your 2.6 million coins and invest them in something else. Start with King Eric and then bring on Dembele to win us the game.
Yeah, perfect. I love the topic. Let's get this recurring as well. Also recurring topic is, of course, the food coaching tip of the week. But since we've got Michael here, he's at least as experienced as I am. I think even more experiences. And I'm putting him on the spot here. So if you're not able to, just let me know as well. But Michael, if you would say to the players that are now playing FC24, you would give them one tip, the one thing they should be starting to do to get the most out of this game, what would that tip be?
I would say just learn to use L1 and R1 runs, like getting a player closer or getting a player to run deep. It's just so important. Like a lot of people are saying, I'm struggling with getting offensive runs, but they're not using L1, R1 runs, and it's just making so much space. I have so much times that my striker's coming to me that I just press L1, he's going forward, and just with that long ball, I'm scoring. But if I didn't do it, he was just coming to me, and I wouldn't get any opportunity. So I think starting to do that will help you create more offensively.
Yeah, that's a great tip, one we at FUTcoaching often try to teach. And just to make sure everyone knows how to do it, if you have the ball on your feet and you're looking towards a player of your own, if you click the R1 button or the RB button on Xbox, the player will start running towards you. I always say the R is for return, come towards you. If you click the L1 button or the LB button, the player you are looking at will go for a long run. So the L for long. So L1, LB for a long run, and the RB or the R1 run for a return run or a run towards the player you are currently in possession with. Perfect tip. Makes it much more dynamic. Actually pretty easy to teach, pretty easy to learn, because once you trigger it, you can also see a reaction from the player you're looking at. So if you send him for a long run, he'll raise his hand, he will go forward. And if he comes for a short run, he will also wave like, hey, I'm coming up towards you. So look at those tips. Thanks for that one, Michael.
No problem.
Brilliant. I don't actually have much left to say. I think we did it in a pretty decent time, but I know Ingve has something left to say, though.
I do.
I don't know, but you were like, oh, I just want to say something.
Well, I can say that the Lozano SPC is cheap, though, for getting a card that's attached to a really good pro player. So, of course, if you need a fast right winger, playing in the Eredivisie for PSV.
Just the wrong club, unfortunately.
But it's still a nice story because Manu played in the beginning of his career for PSV. Then he went away, and this year he went back to PSV to play together with Emery in the Eredivisie. So it's just a nice story that he's playing for PSV, has been playing there for a long time in the past. So that card is just like a nice story around it. And I think they should bring that a little bit more as well.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for on the actual website. But yeah, I think our common advice would be just do the Lozano SBC, even if he doesn't fit your team right now. He's one of those players that will be a good super sub, even if he doesn't fit your main team. Eh?
Yep.
Perfect. And also get 1 or 2 Malins. I just get involved there on the spot.
Master Trader John with the tip of the day.
It might make 5,000 coins on it, so I would definitely go for it.
It's so cheap.
Michael, just asking, where can people find you online, right?
Mostly my Twitter. That's Michaelke0. That's and Twitch. It's the same name. Those two. For the rest, I'm not that heavily social media active. Perfect.
Chris, at GPM
Discord,
anywhere else?
and you'll get me at Chris Macintosh. One I think is the Macintosh on X. I'm calling it by its proper name now, but I'm on all the socials. If you find Foot in Review, you find Foot Coaching, you'll find me somewhere there. Always open for discussion if there's anything that you disagree with, and especially the start, sub, and sell. Let us know. We really want to know your guys' opinions on that. It'd be great to hear from you.
Yeah, and if you just say FC24 is the best FIFA I've ever played, just send that to Chris.
Yeah, I'll have a massive discussion on that one. Start playing.
Ingve, where can people find you?
They can find me on X/Twitter at evgnoni. And of course, they can find me on our great Discord at LittleOn95. Highly recommended, of course, to join us. Very cheap.
Definitely. You can. That's relative. We can't see people's wallets, of course, but check out footinreview.com and, of course, patreon.com/footinreview. And I got one thing to ask everyone. We also make this show a fully video produced show, and almost 35% of the people are now watching the video show on Spotify, which is awesome. That means we don't put in all the work for nothing. But if you do have a moment and go to FUTcoaching on YouTube, which is just youtube.com/FUTcoaching, just give us a thumbs up or a like or share that video because it's getting little views there. Our shorts are getting like 10,000 more views than the full shows do. But let us know if you appreciate us by giving a little thumbs up or heart on YouTube, because that would be very much appreciated. And of course, you'll help us without spending money. So thank you very much in advance. Of course, this show will return next Tuesday, 6 p.m. UK. And of course, we'll be live every Saturday, 6 p.m. UK. And if you're a Patreon member, you get it after we recorded this. There's just one thing left to do, and I actually forgot to brief Michael. So let's see if he still remembers. But it's time for us to
drop it.
Drop it, yeah.
Drop it.
F-U-T. F-U-T. F-F-F-U-T. F-U-T. T. Interview. F-U-T.